In today's video, I'm going to be doing a little refresh of my kitchen. This is me coming from our family room, and the two rooms are connected. They open to each other. We've been in this house for about 22 years, and the kitchen is pretty much the way it was when we bought the house. The items we updated in this kitchen were the countertops, which were a laminate, and the floor, and those were done by my husband and my father. We found some ceramic tile on sale at Home Depot, and they laid the tile. On the floor, they put it in this diagonal pattern just to make it look a little bit more expensive. The kitchen is very functional. It's not too big, but it's not too small. It's just the right size for us, and it's a really hard-working kitchen. We cook almost every day, and on the weekends, sometimes we cook 3 meals a day here. You're probably wondering what these curtains are. In the winter, I do use curtains. These are just temporary curtains. The one in the back leads from the kitchen to our dining room, and the one here leads from the kitchen into the entryway. These are just cheap IKEA curtains that I have on tension rods. There's our entryway. And the reason I use these is because in the winter, my husband and I spend about 80% of our time in the kitchen and in the living room, and these just do a really good job of keeping the heat in this area where we spend most of our time. That way we're able to save a little bit of money on our heating bill. Let me share some of my plans for this space. Like I said, it's a very functional kitchen. I'm happy with it. What I think it's lacking is that English country, French country charm that I have going on in the rest of my house. So the goal is going to be to add some of that in. And I'm going to use my favorite items. I'm going to use my copper collection. I'm going to be introducing some of my ironstone and transferware collection that I have. Also using some baskets to introduce some of that cottage charm to the space. So this area here, I'm going to be installing a wall shelf, because while I do like the way the copper mold wall looks, I think it could be a little bit more appealing visually. And I think by adding some other elements like transferware, baskets, things like that, it's going to make that much more interesting. I'm also going to be focusing on the coffee station. Right now it's just a little bit cluttered, doesn't really function as well as I wanted to. Those brown shelves in the back are not actually shelves, they're just storage boxes that I repurposed. So I definitely want to make the space a little bit nicer looking. Put a lot of these things out of sight and just leave the necessities. The stove we've had for about 15 years, and I'm really debating on whether I should replace it, simply because it's starting to have problems with the burners. When we try to light them, they don't always light, and we have to use a lighter to get them to light up. So I haven't made a decision on that yet. Still kind of talking about it with my husband. As far as the window above the sink, I am hoping to make a new valance for it. This valance, the red and white ticking, has been here for probably 3 years. And it's a very simple valance, but I do have some floral chintz that I think would look even better and look more cottagey. The real problem area here in the kitchen though is this area near the microwave. It has a lot of clutter, a lot of objects that really shouldn't be here. Most of these items are my husband's, so I'm gonna have to work with him to figure out a system to bring some order to this side of the kitchen. So I don't know if I'll be able to get rid of all of this Some of it might have to stay, especially the charging station, since it's just so convenient for us to put our devices there, hook them up, charge them, and then grab them when we have to leave the house. But I think it can definitely look better than what it does. So now that you've heard what my plans are, let me get started with the coffee station. I have some shelves, actually 2 options, that I'm going to be trying and deciding which ones I like best, and then I will move on to the rest of the kitchen. So the main goal here is just to go through, declutter, decide what things I actually want to leave out, and put the other ones where they belong. I find that clutter tends to attract more clutter, so when a space is not styled, at least that's how I see it, if I don't style a space, then it just tends to be a clutter magnet because I'm not as careful about maintaining the appearance of that space. So hopefully by restyling this area, making it pretty, making it functional, I will be much more likely to maintain that. The biggest challenge for this space was finding shelves that I liked, that were the right size for the space, and that were affordable. So I've been using these little storage boxes. These were just, I think I was using them to keep vitamins and first aid items and things like that, but they've probably been here for about 3 years. So I found 2 shelves at Home Goods that I really like the look of them, and then I also bought 2 shelves from Amazon. So I'm going to clear all of this from the counter, and then we're going to try the 2 different shelf styles and see which one I like better. So here's the first shelf that I'm going to try. This is the style that I ordered from Amazon. I thought it already came assembled, but doesn't look like it. Yeah, that's disappointing. But I can already tell that I don't care for it because the color, even though I knew that it was going to be like a wood tone, and my cabinets are cherry. They didn't have a cherry version of this, but I don't know if this is gonna work. I think it's too dark. Let me put this together and so we can get an idea of what it looks like. I'm gonna put the shelf from Home Goods on one side of the espresso maker, and I'm gonna put this one on the other side so I can compare. So this is the shelf from Amazon that I just loosely put together to see how it looked. And as you can see, what I'm talking about, the wood tones not really matching with the cherry cabinets. But I do want to give it a chance, so I'm going to put it here on one side of the espresso maker. And this is the other shelf that I got from Home Goods. It's marble and metal. And it was $19.99, and I was able to get 2 of these by going to a second Home Goods store, because you know how usually Home Goods will only carry a very limited selection of a particular item. So the first store I went to had 1, and then I had to go across town to another Home Goods and I found the second one. So let's put that here and see what it looks like. So here's how the shelves are looking so far. This is the first one. It does have a slat that goes across the back, but I didn't take the time to put that on. And then this is the metal and marble one. I do like the marble, so that's the one I'm going to go with. I started out by putting the shelves on either side of the coffee maker, but then I realized that I had to have a place to plug in the tea kettles, so I moved one of the shelves and put it against the refrigerator. The next morning I came down and I realized that I really wanted to add some artwork. So I went into my stash and I selected these two pieces. I decided to use the larger piece for the refrigerator, so I hot glued 3 magnets to the back. The smaller piece is an actual painting and already had a little metal hanger. I decided to use the smaller one to cover that unsightly phone jack on the wall. When I was done arranging and rearranging all the items, this is how it looked. On the back shelf, I put the nuts and the coffee items. And on the second shelf, I have most of my tea. By this time, I was definitely ready for my morning cup of coffee. Thank you for stopping by today. Next week, I'll be finishing the rest of the kitchen refresh. I hope to see you then.